Hello, mail-inners. That's what we could call our fans, right? Mail-in crew, mail-in gang,
What about like mail heads?
The mail heads. Mail time.
Someone think of something good that doesn't suck.
Doesn't suck. Just let us know. We were calling them the like the lunchbox or something like that. I think it was something. I don't remember, but they had a name that was pretty good. Anyway, I'm your host, Brett Merriman. To my right, / in front of me, the lovely and the one and only Sally deFries. Hey, Sal.
Hi.
How are you?
I was checking my makeup in my camera. I put a little lip on before we started because we have video again this week.
We do. How's it look?
I gotta get my shit together. I have really been slacking on the skin routine lately.
Okay.
Sal gals are not gonna be impressed. And we're going to Italy soon. I need to look just glowing.
Right.
And I'm just not there right now.
What is your airplane plan for that trip? Do you have?
Thank you for asking.
Oh, of course.
Okay, so I probably will actually do a little Sal Gals Instagram about this. Okay. Mostly because Will and I are flying for the first time in a very long time without Fritz. So it's going to already be very luxurious. Because flying with a baby is like passing a football back and forth like for 2 hours that you're just like trying to constantly entertain. Like I'm actually going to be able to like enjoy a glass of wine. Oh, yeah. Which I think is free because we're flying internationally. So that's nice. And
gotta be careful with that.
Yeah. My plan is to have like a glass of wine, take a Unisom, and then just pass out.
Red wine and Ambien. In the words of John Mayer.
If I had Ambien still, I would probably do that.
I see.
But word to the wise. Have you ever taken Ambien?
No.
Have we talked about this before?
I don't think I've taken plenty of sleep aids, but never
Ambien. Okay. Ambien. Do not take Ambien for the first time on a plane. Because Ambien, I used to take it when I would work night shift because I couldn't sleep during the day. Yep. And Ambien will make you like do weird stuff. I actually used to take Ambien. So I would take it when I got home from work and then sleep during the day.
Right.
But it was right when I was working night shift for a couple of months was right when Will and I met. And we were obviously like talking long distance because he hadn't gotten a job in Austin yet or moved yet. And so he would call me. I would call him like on my way home from work and we would talk in the morning because it would be like 7 o'clock my time and like 8 o'clock his time. So that would be like that's when we talked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like me coming home from work, him going to work. And I would like take the Ambien as soon as I got home. We would start talking and then I would start just basically hallucinating. Like you're awake, but you start like dreaming.
Oh yeah. I get that feeling like you used to at sleepovers, you'd be talking to your buddy the whole time. And you'd start explaining
and you start having
dreams.
Like weird, vivid dreams.
Oh yeah.
So much so that Will and we used to call it being in the forest because I at one point had told him like I was dreaming that I was in the forest, but I was talking to him. It was really good for him because we were at the beginning of our relationship and I was like trying to be coy and I had like no filter when I was on Ambien. So he would just ask me like, what do you think about me? Like, what do you like. Ooh. Any of the hard-hitting questions that you normally wouldn't like do soberly, but I was under the influence of Ambien.
Of course. At 7 a.m., by the way.
Yeah, at 7 a.m. If you haven't taken Ambien before, don't do it on a plane when you're in altitude because it can make the effects of it so much worse. And I've heard horror stories, but legitimately one of my friends flying over to Italy when she was in college took Ambien and her parents, like, they would have grounded the plane had they not been like over the Atlantic because she was like having such a panic attack because she was hallucinating so bad that they basically like her dad had to like they had to switch seats with somebody and like take her to the back of the plane and like put an eye mask on her and just like basically like rock her to sleep.
God.
So don't
Okay.
If you've never taken it before, just stick with Benadryl or like a Tylenol PM.
That's a solid way. But the rest of the flight, though.
The rest of the flight, compression socks.
Okay.
I'm not trying to get blood clots here.
No.
Okay. And then I'm going to do like some vigorous masking. So I'm talking face mask, and I'm not talking like against COVID. I'm talking about like moisture on your face.
Got it.
So lots and lots of water.
Yep.
From
dehydrated.
Yeah,
up
you
in
get
the air,
dehydrated.
yeah.
Probably a couple liquid IVs.
Of course.
And then I'm going to do like a full skincare routine, a SK2 facial treatment mask, like a sheet mask. And then I'll just like lather the shit out of my skin in Weleda and then go to sleep and then probably like do some patches in the morning.
Look at that. You have the whole thing planned.
With a little,
you'll be absolutely glowing. Will you spray tan before you go?
I'm not going to spray tan, I don't think, because the wedding, we go on a Friday and the wedding's on a Tuesday.
Dicey.
And so I think I'm just going to bring some fake tanner.
Is that the thing where you put the little mitten on? And
yes. Again, also PSA, if you're putting the mousse on, wear the mitt because you will dye your hand brown and then you'll look like you have like dipped your hands in mud, but you can't get it off. We made that mistake one time before Memorial Day. We're like, how much do you really need the mitt? You can probably just wash your hands. You need it pretty badly, actually.
Other tangent I wanted to ask you about because we did not get to it last week. Fritz is swimming.
He's doing infant swim rescue.
ISR, I've heard.
ISR. It's basically where they teach kids, young kids, how to flip over in water if they fall in, to flip and get on their back and like float on their back.
Right. How is this going?
It's going fine.
Okay.
It was not something that was at the forefront of my mind because we don't have a pool.
And I was parents do have a pool, though.
My parents have a pool, and my sisters have pools. We have a pool in our apartment, but there's like no way for him to get to it unless we legitimately bring him to it.
He would need to like learn things very quickly.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, like how to operate an elevator.
Right. He's smart, but that's probably a couple months away.
Yeah. Having been a pediatric ICU nurse and taking care of drowning victims, when a spot opened up, I was like, we should just do it.
Sure.
So it's going okay. I took him earlier. He's screaming bloody murder.
Oh boy.
But he's doing better at floating. And if somebody's screaming, they're breathing. So,
you know what? There you go.
But that's the thing. Drowning is normally silent, is what they tell you. So, because kids fall in and then they like don't know how to, they end up on their stomach with their head face down.
Also, I feel like their head is so much bigger than like their body. So it doesn't take much for them to just kind of like flip over. They just go,
so what she's teaching him is like she's dunking him in different ways and he's learning to flip over. But he's screaming because he can see me there and he's pissed and he's like, he knows what's coming. But like a normal kid who just like maybe walks into the pool and falls, very little sound. So that's why it's important.
PSA, ISR, and other PSA, wear a mitt.
And wear a tanning mitt.
Right.
Wrap it up, answer Randy. all of life's questions and
answers.
There
you go. That's what we do on this podcast, right? Life's questions and life's answers, Sally. If you would like to help us out, please subscribe. Tell a friend. Send them clips that will be coming from the lovely intern, Adam. And then subscribe on iTunes, follow on Spotify. Hit the hotline number, leave a voicemail. We have one of those today, 888-362-MAIL. That's 888-362-6245. Or you can write in at the link in the Twitter bio at MailInPodcast. Are you ready, Sally?
I'm ready.
Let's hop in. Hi, Sal and Brett. A good friend recently got married, and about 6 weeks later, they ended things. They never technically got legally married, but had a whole ass wedding with friends, family, and the works. My question is, how does my gift work now? Do they keep my cash? Does just I am friends with him. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, does just the groom, because I'm friends with him. Does this carry over to the next wedding? Just curious for him, does he ever tell people he was married at all? Thank you. The old 6-weeker. The Chris,
wow.
Chloe? Courtney?
Kim
and Blake Griffin, right?
Kim and Blake Griffin and Kim and another guy when she was like 19.
Not Blake Griffin. What's his face?
You're thinking of Chris Humphries.
Chris Humphries. Yes.
Okay, as far as the gift goes, like you're not getting it back.
No, that's gone.
Unless your friend is just like a really stand-up guy. But like I think everyone just cuts their losses because they're like, this was pretty uncomfortable and we're just gonna like not acknowledge that it happened. Or not acknowledge that it happened, but we're acknowledging it and then we're gonna just move on because it's gonna be more painful for him to like return all the gifts.
Yeah, imagine being like knocking on the door. Hey, this is the vintage coffee maker you got me.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Because in other situations, if a couple got divorced, you're not like, am I getting my gift back? So obviously
Yeah.
the timeline is a little sketchy, but
I'm just like 6 weeks, man.
6 weeks.
Do you
It's
have a
really, really important for people to know each
marriage
other before
counsel?
they
Marriage
get married.
counsel. Marriage counsel.
Yes. Like, if I can offer you one piece of advice to everyone who is married, going to be married, etc., premarital counseling. And if you haven't done premarital counseling, you're already married, like marital counseling, also great, because it doesn't matter how in love you are and like how you want to shout it from the rooftops and how great it seems on Instagram. Like, everyone fights. Even like I truly feel like I love Will so much, and that we are still in like a very much of a honeymoon phase, but we freaking fight. And sometimes it's nice to have someone, and it's like not even in the moment, but later when we like talk to our therapist, we'll like go over stuff, and she was like, it's just nice to like
It's nice having somebody
learn.
neutral.
Yes. And not even about like who's right or wrong. It's like learning what the other person was essentially trying to communicate. Because most fights are like people just totally missing the mark with each other about what you want versus what they want.
And it's one thing to go to like your sister and give her opinion, and then for
Right.
Will to go to his buddy and get his,
Right.
and then it's like good, but it's also not. You're not working towards a mutual solution.
And I, don't know this couple at all, but I think it's really important. I used to always say, like, oh, whatever, if it's love, like you get married and it's fine. But the older I am, I'm like, well, you really need to know yourself, and you really need to know the other person and like what they feel about specific things. So 6 weeks,
True.
I mean, who knows? Maybe they moved in together and like they just have totally different opinions on like having kids or like what their financial situation
That's what I was
should
going
be.
to say. Like, what if they moved in and like 6 weeks in, the finances are like, whoa, you do
You've
what
got to
with a
talk
credit
about this
card?
stuff before.
Or wait, you don't want kids? Like,
Yeah.
hang on a second.
Even if you have like a short engagement or a short, amount of time dating each other,
Courtship,
you have
perhaps.
got to know the ins and outs of somebody. Anyway, that's a totally different point.
I just gymmed the camera.
Yeah, me too. But so ignore your gift. Yes, if he gets married again, you should probably get him another gift, right?
Or just a note that says, already did this.
No, but like, you don't have to give him like a super nice gift. I don't know.
Chili's gift card for 6 weeks from now when you're back there again.
But okay, so this guy, I guess technically didn't even really have to get divorced or annul his marriage because they didn't actually get married.
They're
They
not
only
legally.
had like a
They just had a
ceremony.
party.
Right.
They basically had a breakup party.
I've heard of this happening.
Oh,
Not
really?
of people like ending their marriage, but I've had friends. I had a friend, well, it's really my friend's sister, got married in somewhere international in the Caribbean somewhere, that they
Was
when
the
you get
marriage
married
done by the end of the
No.
Okay.
They're still together. But when you get married internationally, most of the time, a lot of people do it. They get married in the States first.
Yeah, they
and
do
then
a
go
little
like do a
court,
ceremony somewhere else. That's what Lily and Drew did. Because to actually get your marriage license in Mexico, it's like you have to jump through all these hoops and you have to be there for a certain amount of time. It just doesn't really make sense. Something happened with theirs.
Oh no.
Where they were getting married somewhere in the Caribbean, and whatever marriage license they had, they like messed that up. They didn't get married in the United States or something.
Yikes.
So like 2 years later realized.
Oh no.
Because they had like, she was like finally changing her last name, and they were like,
you're not
filing taxes
married.
joint, and they were like, oh, you're not married. So they went and had a second wedding in Vegas with like all their close friends.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Which was really fun.
You have to double up on it.
But they were like, oh shit, we haven't been married like these last 2 years.
Wow.
But I think we were talking about this, and the same thing happened to one of our friends, like messed up the marriage license and didn't get it on time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, you still tell people that your anniversary is the day that you had the ceremony.
Of course.
You don't like say it as the day you actually got the marriage license.
Correct. I don't think anybody does, right?
Right. But that all being said, if you had a party, you were essentially married, even if it was only for 6 weeks. You have to tell people that like you were married and have been divorced.
That is such an expensive 6 weeks.
Right. But like if this guy gets into a relationship with somebody, he has to divulge that. Like,
yo, you totally do.
Like, I was married.
You don't just erase that one from the old record player.
You don't like call her like a girlfriend that never came to fruition. Like,
no, you had a whole ass wedding.
Yeah, you had a whole ass wedding and a marriage for 6 weeks.
Oh my God. I can't I can't do it.
Listen,
I hope
marriage is
nothing.
hard. I'm not judging
I
anybody.
wonder if something happened because I think about like the parents who presumably have had some payment in there, maybe a down payment on a house, or like there's a lot that you're just like, oh my God.
And obviously, the advice I'm going to give is you should never, if something is not working and you've like used every outlet, like you shouldn't stay with somebody just because of the embarrassment of like not wanting to end a marriage 6 weeks later.
Yeah.
But ideally, you want to end it before you even get married. So if you're already like, this is my thing, if you are somebody is being unfaithful or you like haven't divulged everything or you already are like at each other's throats, as embarrassing as it is to cancel a wedding before the wedding happens, to break off an engagement, I think it's so much worse once you've already gotten married.
Yeah, that's something.
Man.
By the way, does he? I think. Oh, yes, we kind of mentioned it. Yeah, I think your gift can sort of carry over. You don't have to load up his.
No,
yeah, you don't have to get a brand new like.
Who knows?
Light
By the time he
Crusade.
gets married again, you may not even be friends with them, so it won't matter.
I do like the idea of his buddy just shooting him back to Venmo, being like,
I mean, that
better
would be
luck
nice.
next time. Yeah. Oh man.
Don't Venmo request him, you know?
You could get your buddy for his next wedding, maybe a couple months subscription to ButcherBox. Load up their fridge in the newlyweds house. I
That
don't
would
hate
actually
that
be a
idea.
great gift.
Yeah, just load them up.
But then what if they divorce? Are you trying to get the ButcherBox sent back to you?
Sends his meat back.
I think you call them and you're like, okay,
Can I get my meat?
forward the subscription to me.
And I would be glad to, because ButcherBox is absolutely phenomenal, Sally. Their quality, unbelievable. Their pork, their beef, their chicken, their salmon, their scallops. Are you serious? I'm doing salads now because I'm on a health kick.
Yeah.
Little shrimp in there. Oh, ButcherBox has been there the whole way. This summer, add some power players to your grilling lineup with ButcherBox. It's the subscription service that delivers high-quality meat and seafood right to your doorstep. You choose from a carefully curated selection of 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, wild-caught seafood, and more. I'm on a steak tip kick.
Okay.
I've been grilling them. I've been cast iron skilleting them. You can do whatever you want with steak tips. I just know they're going to be good.
Yeah.
And then I put them on little kebabs with veggies and onions and stuff.
Right.
Woo. Randy, you kidding me? What's your favorite cut of meat this summer, Sally? What is the August meat choice of Sally?
Well, we've actually, in our household, I've been trying to stay away from red meat for a little bit.
Sure, that's okay.
So I've been on a big seafood kick.
Sure, absolutely.
But also, I've had some real great luck with like a really thinly sliced, cut a chicken breast in half and then marinate the shit out of it. And I am of the camp, I'm not an idiot. I am fully aware that chicken thighs have more flavor. Okay. But sometimes you got to go with the lean chicken breast and you got to marinate it and then just like grill it a little bit and put it on top of a salad. And the great thing about ButcherBox is I know that I'm not getting like one of the chickens that's like raised in the horrible warehouse conditions.
Correct.
You're getting clean food.
Exactly.
Which is honestly, as much as I'm like avoiding red meat, it's for literally right now because I always crave a steak. The most important thing when you are eating any sort of meat is that it's like from a sustainable source that's clean and that I don't have to worry about that with ButcherBox.
Totally. Free range chicken. Those things are running around till the day they end up on your doorstep, more or less.
They're not in a thing.
And unbeatable value because each meal is less than $6 on average. Are you kidding me? Get summer sizzling started with a special ButcherBox deal for listeners of the Mail-In Podcast. That's right, free bacon for life of your membership, plus, Randy, $100 off. Sign up today at butcherbox.com/mailin and use code BONUS100 to get 1 pack of free bacon in every box for the life of your membership, plus $100 off your first order. That's butcherbox.com/mailin and use code BONUS100 to claim this deal. How about a voicemail, Sally?
Let's do it.
Is it a red flag if she doesn't have any friends? As in, like, I literally don't know who she hangs out with when she's single. Or am I a dick?
Is it a red flag if she does not have any friends? Sally.
Yeah.
I think so too. But there's an important caveat.
Okay.
Because if she's on the apps and she's single, maybe she's new to town. And if she's new to a city, it's tough to make friends right away.
Okay. Totally
I will
agree with
give
that.
her that, or him, that
Mhm.
caveat. But if she's got no friends, I think it's a red flag.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there are two types of people. There are the people that like this is like me, call everyone their best friend and
Okay.
they've got like a million friends, and that as I'm know myself better, I probably don't keep in touch with all of them as much as I should. But then if you ask me, I'd be like, oh my God, my best friend so-and-so. Like, I don't have like 10
Mhm.
best friends, but I will call 10 people my best friend. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All platonic.
And
by
I'm
the
not
way.
trying to be like, I have so many friends. I just have I have a high quantity and still a decent quality, but I don't like put all my eggs in
Okay.
it.
You're like, okay. I'm using your husband as an example here. I
Mhm.
feel like his like hometown high school friend group
Mhm.
is like, it's them and
Literally
nobody
no new
else.
friends. It's
No
like,
new, right? Where I think you and I are similar, that I have 2 guys in this group, and then I
Uh-huh.
have 3 football guys, and then I have 4 hockey guys,
Yeah.
and then like when I get home, it's a job to bumblebee around
Right.
and pollinate
got
everybody.
like my high school, my college, my
Yes,
post work, this work, my
exactly.
grad school, like all of those people.
Will's got like more friends for sure, but like around, but he like that high school group text will forever stay the same.
Right. And then the other type of person is like, well, that you've got like 2 people that those are your people. You don't really stray out of it. Maybe
Mhm.
you're an introvert and that's it. But I think having like no one in your life is a red flag because it's like, why are you alone?
Yeah,
Maybe you choose to be. That's fine.
sure.
Or maybe you're toxic and you've burned a lot of friendships.
Well, that's the big problem, right? Is like, I think you can tell a lot about a person by the company they keep.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can't choose it, like family, right? Sometimes it's a friend that's been there forever, that has gone a different direction, and you're kind of trying to still figure things out with them.
Right.
But for the most part, you can tell a lot about yourself by the company that is around you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I think you should be able to make some assumptions or judge somebody or make inferences based on their friends. And you want to know that you're a good person outside the whatever facade you're putting up in a relationship.
Right. But like you said, it depends on like how well he knows her. Like
Mm-hmm.
if he's only gone on like a couple dates with her and he hasn't like seen her out with people, like maybe she just is like,
Yeah, there's obviously caveats.
maybe all of her friends are in a different city. But at the same time, I feel like when you get to know someone better and you're like maybe living with them or going to think about marrying them,
Mm-hmm.
again, looking at their friends and like the way they treat each other is so important. To me, I'd almost argue that like a more red flag for me would be like somebody that has friends that are not like loyal ride or die friends.
Sure.
Cause I'm like, what's up with you that you don't have like a couple people that would like take a bullet for you? You know what I'm saying? Does that sound dramatic?
Question on this very podcast coming up about that.
Yeah. Like maybe that person is like some of my best friends, quote unquote, are like my siblings because we all live in the same city. So like I probably see some of my sisters more than I see anybody else.
Sure.
But like, do you have people in your life that are going to support you and like be there for you? And if you don't, why not? And I'm not like being like, oh, you need to have people in your life.
It's not I guess it's judgment's the wrong word. It's just like it's like I'm curious.
I'm just thinking of people that I know that I'm like, the friends, you have these friends that they're not like obviously your good friend, but people that like run through friends.
Yeah.
Like their flavor of the week.
Fucking Randy
you're like,
over here.
Yeah, Randy. You know what I'm talking about. You have somebody that you're like, oh, so-and-so's attached to so-and-so this week.
Mm-hmm.
And they're divulging every single thing and they're like seen together. And then all of a sudden there's a little falling out. And then that person's on to the next one.
On to the next one. Yeah.
That is a bigger red flag to me than like having no friends.
What about the I'm piggybacking here. What about the girl that says, "Oh, I'm not friends with girls. I just have a bunch of guy friends," or like I get along better with guys.
I think that's like a really like overdone like
Trope.
trope
Yeah.
that I'm kind of like, okay, we get it. But I also don't think that like maybe you're in a job where like you're surrounded by all guys
Sure.
and like you don't have any girlfriends in your city. So like you hang out with guys. That happens.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying that's a red flag. I'm just saying there's like what like is there a toxic thing
But you know
there?
what I think though? The girls who say that
Oh no.
are very much like, and not like there are girls who that is their actual case,
Sure.
but they don't go to people and be like, I just am more of a guy's girl than a girl's girl.
Mm-hmm.
The girls who are saying I'm more of a guy's girl than a girl's girl, and like I'm just closer with guys. Normally, that is for a reason. In my opinion,
Okay.
what history has taught me.
I don't disagree. I don't have like an example in my head that I can.
I have a
portray.
literal example of somebody that I feel like is friends with more guys than girls, and it's because she's in a field where it's like she's the
Sure,
only
that's
girl.
fair. Yeah, totally fair.
And it's one of my friends. So we are friends, but
Mhm.
like she has a lot of guy friends.
Got it.
But it would never be like, I'm just friends with guys. Because that's just not her personality.
I'm just
I
a guy.
feel
I'm
like
a
when
guy.
people
What's
are
it
like-
called? It's a the pick me personality
Yeah.
where it's like
That's like also claiming, no offense to anybody, like that you're super into sports to like impress people.
yeah, that was the
That's the
I
other
didn't want
overdone
to I didn't
trope.
want to be the
Which I
the
hate
guy,
saying
but
because I
yeah.
think it's dumb for girls to not be allowed to like
correct.
like
The
sports without
gatekeeping
being.
of that is insane.
But I also think like you can just be into sports and not have to tell everyone about it.
I'm afraid there's people out there that are like, fuck you guys.
No,
And I'm
there are. And I hope
I
people
feel
understand that I'm not like putting all this on women because I think there are things that guys do too that I'm just like, that's
Oh, very
fucking
much.
sketchy.
very
Like
much
if
so.
you have to tell people that you're a gentleman, you're not a gentleman.
Maybe a southern gent.
Guess what? Like it's through actions. So
Yeah.
stop being like, oh, I'm
I'm a gentleman.
a gentleman.
I'm a-
No, just
You
show
got
me.
your whole personality from Wolf of Wall
likely,
Street.
yeah, likely you're a douchebag. And
Jordan Belfort. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Can we do
really
the next
derailed,
one before
yeah.
we say too much?
Yeah.
Hey, Malin, I recently started a new job, and I'm currently working in a small team. We work on a lot of projects with quick turnaround times, so there are a lot of times we're all at the office by ourselves after hours, Randy. We also travel heavily for work, so we spend a lot of time together outside of working hours. Throughout all of this, I have developed very strong feelings for my coworker. It feels like this is beyond a crush that I can just get over. I genuinely cannot stop thinking about her. The problem is, I am married. I would never cross any lines, but this has started to create an overwhelming sense of guilt. This is something that has been keeping me up at night. I feel terrible that this isn't just something I can shake. I know deep down that I probably need to tell my wife, but I am worried about how this would make her feel. Do I need to quit my job? Or what can I do to move past this? Thank you. Oh no.
I think by my face you can tell that I did not read this whole rundown
Oh, you
before
did.
we start. Oh shit.
Oh shit is right.
Okay.
Now, first, let me do some commending. You recognize it. You will not cross any lines. You know there's something wrong about this, and you know you have to fix it. So let me get out. Like you thank you for doing that, and not just fucking up and trying to put the pieces back together afterwards.
Right. Okay, there's two things that I need to know here.
Okay.
One, are the feelings reciprocated?
Okay.
Obviously, he probably doesn't know that because he hasn't like made a move.
Correct.
Number two, if they were, would that change how you feel about the situation?
Mm-hmm.
Because here's what I think. I do not believe in soulmates.
Okay.
I think that people can have multiple soulmates.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But I also think that when you're married to somebody or or you're in a relationship with somebody and you love them and that they are your like one and done, you love them, you normally don't put yourself in a situation where you are open to having feelings for somebody else. Obviously that happens because people have
Especially with
extramarital
work.
affairs,
Yeah.
and especially at work. And probably for the same situation that this guy's in, where spending a lot of time at work, after hours, traveling, etc. And it's easy to like see someone in that light. But my question is your marriage secure enough that like, is that why this is happening? That you got a crush on her? Because I do think that I guess there is a situation where like, what if you're married to somebody and then you meet who you think is the love of your life and it's not the person you're married to?
Yeah. And I'm sure that happens.
It definitely happens. And I'm not trying to stand in the way of that.
No, I'm sure it's not even in a bad way, right?
As shitty as that sounds. But I also like, me personally, I don't know that I could ever get to that situation with somebody.
Sure. Yeah.
But I also don't put myself in and not that he has a choice, but like at work, I'm not like really chummy with anybody in a situation where like we could start anything, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Or that I would like develop a crush. And then I don't really have any other friends that I would like want to have an affair with. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to like make light of the situation.
I know.
But all that being said, number one, I don't know if telling the wife is necessary.
That's where I'm at too. I don't think
not
it's
worth
necessary.
hurting her unless you'll have other issues that like you need to probably address in therapy.
Yeah, I was gonna say if this is chronic, if this is if this is like the third or fourth time this has happened with somebody different, that's maybe an issue. But the one time nothing's happened, it's purely mental. I'm sure there's a degree of like the grass is greener kind of deal going on right now. It's more of it's like the thing you want but you can't have. It's the shiny wet. Yeah,
it's sorry, I just did something weird with my mouth.
Yeah, but I think we're on the same page there.
That was going to be my other point. Yeah. I think, barring that you don't have any problems in your marriage, I think developing feelings for somebody that you're around all the time is normal.
Yeah. I mean,
but like you said, like you really have to think about like, why am I liking her so much? Like, is it because she has these traits and I enjoy that and da-da-da? But like, if you aren't planning on being with her, I don't think it's necessary to tell your wife. If you are planning on being with her, then don't be a cheater and freaking in your marriage. But I think my advice here is to figure out a way to not be around her anymore. So whether that's leaving your job or being in a different department than her.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's part of me that's like, okay, if this is really if this is as deep as he thinks it is, and it's that ingrained, and he's like, I'm on a really bad road that's getting faster by like the day, right?
Yeah.
Does he try to find out if the feelings are reciprocated? Not like with a hookup, but like does he have a conversation?
See, I thought the same thing, but then I'm like,
because I mean that once that can of worms is open,
once it's open, it's open. It's out open. There. Because what if she tells your wife?
Right. Exactly. Well, that was the thing. Is if she says no and then tells your wife,
it's construed as sexual harassment.
Right. There's a lot of risk involved. But like,
I think if you love your wife and you don't want anything to happen, then he's already in a good spot of recognizing that it's become a problem, and the way to fix it is to separate yourselves. Because I think being around her is only going to be more detrimental, because at a certain point you're going to like her so much that you're unable to not make a move.
Yeah, and I think the guilt, like overwhelming guilt, I don't think is warranted. You haven't done anything, so I think you can like alleviate that a little bit, because there's nothing that has truly been extremely hurtful done. Like, I know there's emotional cheating is kind of a deal if you're texting her late at night,
right?
And it's going away.
That if that's happening.
And it's going away from work, and it's like you're talking about problems, and maybe you're talking about your wife at home with her. You know, like there's stuff that that is not good. I don't have that context here, but
right.
I don't know. If it's that deeply ingrained and maybe he knows they are reciprocated or not already.
Yeah. This is a hard one
Yeah.
because you really need to know how the other person, like, I'm not saying that if your marriage is shitty that it's okay to cheat on your wife.
No.
But I think that makes, if you're already having marital problems and then you're around a girl all the time, like, it makes it easier for you to slip into those feelings.
Yeah.
Even if you really want to stay with your wife.
Absolutely.
But again, this is something that would be very well handled in the hands of a therapist. Because I do think that if you do tell your wife, it's going to have to, like, man, that trust is going to be hard.
Correct.
Because then she's going to always assume that you did something. She's going to be insecure. Like, if you've really done nothing, I would figure out a way to not be around this girl anymore and move past it.
Yeah. Which, you know where you could start?
I think so.
Our friends and sponsor of this very episode, BetterHelp.
Yeah.
Life is full of twists and turns, and it's important to show up for yourself through it all. I think this guy, myself, you know that life does have its twists and turns, and I've certainly had a few of them over the last couple of years. And BetterHelp Online Therapy will assess your needs and can match you with your own licensed professional therapist in less than 48 hours, Sally. We are all taking care of our mentals.
You and I think, are the biggest proponents of mental health that exist. I mean,
I don't know, like in the world,
not in the whole world, but obviously this podcast, even though we're the only two people, but I clearly love to give you advice. But at the same time, like, sometimes it's just better to talk it out with a mental health professional.
Correct. And that's where I am starting.
Yep.
I've been on a hotness journey. I've been on a fitness journey. I'm currently on a meal journey.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm on a mental health journey. And BetterHelp is where I've gone initially.
Yeah.
In order to get better with my mentals. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional therapy done securely online, available to people worldwide. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your therapist. You can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to. And getting therapy every week is as easy as a few clicks on your laptop or phone. With therapy, it can take a few tries to find the right fit for you. So BetterHelp makes it easy and free to change therapists if you need. It's more affordable than traditional offline therapy, and financial aid is available. BetterHelp is a great way to invest in yourself, or like me, who has gone through periods of grief, anxiety, you name it, over the last year and a half or so. 2 years, 2.5 years.
But I also think it's important to say, and not discounting what you're going through currently, but it's also so important to go to therapy. Like, therapy should just be also preventative care.
Yeah, I was
so
just,
like,
even if you're good,
you feel like I'm really happy with what's going on in my life, learning, like, talking to a therapist and learning coping skills and really just getting out your feelings, because sometimes you need to bounce off of somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is so helpful.
Unbiased.
So I feel like it's open to everyone. You don't have to have had some horrible tragedy. Although obviously the best place for that is getting help.
Agreed. Yeah. Think of it as, if you're good and you feel good, think of it as a tune-up. Clear the old noggin. And if you're like me, who's going through a lot, then it's helpful. It's impactful.
Yeah.
And they have a special offer for our listeners, Sally. 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/mailin. That's 10% off your first month of online therapy at BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/mailin. Let's do the next one, Sally. Are you ready? Similar question. Okay. And this is the last heavy one. Then we'll get more fun stuff. Hey, Mail-In crew. Brett, I just wanted to reach out and offer my condolences. Thank you. I read your blog on your dad and your journey, and it absolutely hit home as someone who's going through something similar. I guess my question for you is, how have you been able to articulate that grief and subsequent relief in practice? I too feel lost, and my Google searching has yet to be successful in making myself feel better. Any tips, tricks, etc. on grief that you've found particularly effective? And, well, one, BetterHelp, therapy,
Mhm.
like that is talking to somebody,
Yeah.
has been extremely effective. And um, I'll kind of make this one quick. Just knowing that, I've kind of talked about it in the blog, and I get a lot of people reaching out telling me similar stories. Like I couldn't figure out how to handle things. I didn't know when it was going to get better. I felt sad for a long time. And something in your blog like triggered something or was good and
Mhm.
helpful. So that was cool to see that feedback. So I think writing is
Yeah.
one of them that I have done that has been crazy, crazy helpful. Doing things I mentioned in my blog too, just doing things that make me feel happy have
Mhm.
been crucial. Like going to see friends, going to have a beer at a bar, going to grill something or make a meal, like just something that I can put my mind to, and something that I'm actively working on. And this is going to sound dumb, but like my golf swing
Mhm.
and placing thought and time and effort and energy into something that is hard and something that is not just done overnight has been a really nice, at first, distraction. And then after it was a distraction, it's become routine and it's become um, therapeutic.
Right.
So initially, I went to the range to just like not think about my dad for a while,
Yeah.
and then now it's become no, I'm good on that. There's no overwhelming wave to escape from or run from. Now it's part of what's making my mental health better.
Right.
What makes me feel better, and I want to do it. And it's not just like I need to go get away. I want to go, and I think that's so something like that has been um, hugely helpful. So it's getting your mind on things increasingly that are away from the grief at hand or the
Mhm.
anxiety at hand, and occupying your time. Because what I ran into the worst was overthinking and worrying and anxiety and grief when I didn't have anything else to think about or
Right.
do.
What do you think? I think that there is a portion of listeners out there who are maybe not having any grief right now, have
Sure.
nothing to grieve. What for you was helpful? I think people are really uncomfortable
Yeah.
when it comes to death or when people are, dealing with hard situations of how to support them best.
Hmm.
Um, you know, I we talked about this last episode. I haven't lost anyone close to me, but I have been around a lot of loss.
Sure.
And I think I'm do a decent job at it, but you always are a little like, should I reach out? Should I say something? Like
Hmm.
what for you was like the most helpful, or like what advice do you give to people who are maybe trying to support someone who's going through something similarly to you?
Yeah. I think what I found the most helpful, and don't get me wrong, the people offering condolences and help and everything, I appreciate everything, and everybody appreciates. But it's like you can only say like you can only hear "I'm sorry, I'm here if you need anything" so many times, and like that's sort of
Right.
like if you're friends with somebody, that's a given.
Yeah.
You kind of expect that.
Right.
Um, and it's nice to articulate that, and I very much appreciate that. It is the people that um have like commiserated
Yeah.
that's been the most helpful for me. The people that have said, "Dude, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
You're dealt a shit hand."
Yeah.
The acknowledging of how shitty of a situation something is
Mhm.
has been like, "You know what? Thank you. I I appreciate that." And I didn't know that going into this whole process is like what's gonna be good, what's gonna be bad, what's gonna
Right.
be helpful or impactful. And it's the people that commiserate and are just like, "Dude, like, it's nice to hear I'm thinking of you. It's nice to hear I'm sorry. It's nice to hear, let me know if you need anything." Like
Mhm.
that's all awesome. But it's the people that say, you're a strong person who's dealt a shit fucking hand."
Yeah.
And just simple and like, "Yep, thank you." Because I'm glad somebody sees it and it's not just
Mhm.
sort of the boilerplate thinking of you thoughts and prayers.
Well, and I think maybe the best thing is just I think people are really afraid
Oh,
to
of
be like,
course.
say the wrong
There's
thing.
yeah, there's no easy way to
But I also think
reach
that
out.
rarely are you going to say the wrong thing unless you're just like straight up insulting the person who died or something like that. Like
Yeah.
any words are going to be comforting.
Mhm.
And like you said, like what was most comforting to you is like having somebody to commiserate with, whereas somebody else may feel this way. But
Yeah.
I think
Everybody's different.
people get
Sure.
really paralyzed of like, what if I say the wrong thing or they don't want to hear from me? Like
No,
somebody
it's-
who's dealing with something doesn't have to respond to you, and that doesn't mean anything. It means they've got shit going on.
Yeah,
you know?
and you know what? It's even nice just to see a name pop across the
Yeah.
top of the screen that maybe you haven't talked to them in a while, or
Yeah.
maybe you haven't seen them. You know, like it's just nice to know that you have people,
Right.
right? You could say hi and nothing else.
Right.
It's just to see even a name come across is like that. It's just nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice. So be there. You don't have to go over the top. You know, um, but I guess in dealing with grief, it's just all like it all gets better. I think is the coolest thing about this whole process that I've learned is like you're gonna have bad days. You're gonna have moments where it's just breakdown,
Yeah.
but they become less and less impactful, less and less like spiraling and day ruining, and
Yeah.
they just ease with
Well,
time
yeah. Time
and
heals all,
appreciation. And right,
but it won't ever go away.
sure, yeah,
But
absolutely.
it'll get easier to deal with
Hmm.
because you'll learn how to cope.
Exactly, and that goes for loss. That goes for like you could have relationship anxiety. You could have work anxiety. It's just it's not infinite, I
Mhm.
guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Let's do the next one, Sally. Hey, mail-in crew. How do I support my fiance when her friends continuously let her down? Her bachelorette party is coming up and 4 girls are dropping because, quote, it is too expensive for a night out. The cost includes pregame drinks and food, round trip party bus that's 20 minutes downtown, and 3-course dinner at one of the nicest restaurants in our city. This friend group is in their late 20s, and my fiance has gone on their bachelorette trips that have cost up to $1,500 apiece. She didn't want to force people to spend a lot, so she went with the local and cheaper option, but this is the response she is getting. I can see it really hurts her feelings, and I'm embarrassed for her friends for being so shitty. Please help. Here's some context. All of the other girls in the party are fine with the plan. These 4 girls are not in their own subgroup. It is making the night more expensive for everyone else if they drop. And lastly, I don't want to get involved, but I'm so frustrated hearing this info behind the scenes. I'm about to say fuck it and just pay for these 4 girls so no one complains. Sally, how does this guy support here?
Okay. A couple things. It's really sweet that he's like upset for her.
Yeah.
I think listening to her be upset about it and complain and like bitch about her friends is step 1. He's already there, clearly. Weddings bring out the worst in people. Like, we know this. Girls can be really fucking catty. Like, I can't even tell you the amount of times that like I have spent tons of money to go to somebody's wedding and then like they, didn't even reciprocate by coming. Not that didn't coming to my wedding, but like other shit where you're like, just
Yeah.
show up,
Mhm.
At the same time, even when you're trying to be low key, some people are not going to go with it, and you just have to let that go. I think sometimes, depending on the way that his fiance is operating, like maybe she wants just some like sympathy and for you to like hug her and be like, this is really shitty and your friends are being shitty and I'm really sorry. Or maybe she needs the tough love of like, people are shitty. You've got to like let it roll off your back and just move on. All of that sucks. I think if you feel really strongly about it and you are close to any of the girls who are dropping out, then I don't think it's out of the norm if you're close to them or know them well to like text and be like, hey, like Sarah's pretty upset. She would really want y'all to come. Is there anything that I can do to help like
Subsidize your
to make sure, and not as like I'll pay for you to go, but like I would love for y'all to be there. Like I can cover some of it if that helps. Like I know she just wants to be surrounded by y'all.
Yeah.
But I think people get selfish. People get jealous. There's a lot of reasons that people act the way that they do. I think weddings in general, especially if you have your own shit going on in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and then you know, you what I'm trying to say is we don't know what these 4 girls are going through.
I know. The thing I can't get over is like, if you're one of these 4 girls who have already had their bachelorette parties and people come and drop a bunch of money to go on them, and like you can't like you have to reciprocate that.
I
Like
mean,
of those 12 to however many people it is, like those are just automatic. Like I don't care how much it is, I'll be there.
yeah, but
But you're right. That things happen.
shit happens.
Yeah.
Like people
Have kids,
people have
lose
kids, people
jobs.
have mortgages, people have shit going on.
Yeah.
And I think growing up has really taught me that like if that person is not going, and maybe it's due to money or maybe it's due to cattiness or whatever, they probably have other shit going on in their
Yeah.
lives. Like, do I want to force them to be there to celebrate with me? Like, no.
Mhm.
Does it hurt my feelings? Absolutely. It's okay for your feelings to be hurt.
Sure.
I think telling your fiance it's okay that your feelings are hurt. It's okay that it's valid that you feel this way.
Mhm.
But at the same time, any of these 4 friends, maybe they're just bitches. Like maybe they're jealous, or maybe they have shit going on in their lives. Like one of them has student loans she can't pay off, and like she paid for all the other bachelorettes, and then was like, "Oh fuck, I've got to rein my spending in." You just never know what someone else is going through, and as crappy as it is, and I'm sure that like your fiance is probably feeling like I'm really trying to not make a big deal out of this, and now like I've made so little of a deal out of it that like people are just bailing. Feels even worse because you're like you want to. Even as much as somebody's like, no, 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 like we don't have to celebrate me. It's nice to be celebrated. It's like really humbling
Yeah.
and like makes you feel good about yourself that your friends will show up for you. But at the same time, like if the girls are dropping out, like it's okay for her to be upset about it, but it's also not anybody's responsibility to force any of these 4 girls into it. Like
Yeah.
if he wants to offer to help pay for it, that's fine. I think it's going to probably make those girls feel awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there's something else going on. But I
Yeah,
think
I
if
don't know.
he feels strongly enough and he is close to any of them, he can reach out or like offer to pay for the dinner or whatever he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think maybe just giving her some sympathy and being like, I'm really sorry. And then it's okay to say, for her to even say to them, like, that really hurt my feelings.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's okay for them to also be like, I don't have the
cash. Sorry.
I don't
And
have
say
the
that hurts my
bandwidth.
feelings, and I went to yours, but you know what? I get it. So see you at the wedding.
Yeah.
Boom. Let's talk Policygenius though, real quick,
Okay.
because Policygenius is making life insurance much easier. They're not life insurance directly. What they do is they take a bunch of quotes from a bunch of different places and give them all to you on a silver platter so you can make the best decision for you and your family. Why get life insurance? Because we pay hundreds of dollars a year to protect our homes, our cars, even our phones, but too many of us are not taking steps to protect our family's finances. Mortgage payments, private student loans, debt, doesn't just disappear, right? If something happens to you, a life insurance policy can provide your loved ones with a financial cushion they can use to cover those costs, and it can provide you peace of mind that even in a worst case scenario, they will be protected. Already have coverage through work, maybe. Some people do. Having life insurance through your job may not be enough. Most people need up to 10 times more coverage to properly provide for their families, and coverage through work isn't portable. If you leave your job, the policy does not go with you, meaning a gap in coverage when you need it the most. So life insurance typically gets expensive, more expensive as you age. So it's smart to get a policy sooner rather than later. Again, here's how it works. Policygenius is an insurance marketplace that makes it easy to compare quotes from top companies like AIG and Prudential in one place to find your lowest price on life insurance. You could save 50% or more on life insurance by comparing quotes with Policygenius. Options start at just $17 per month for $500,000 of coverage. Click the link in the description or head to policygenius.com to get personalized quotes in minutes and find the right policy for your needs. The licensed agents at Policygenius work for you, not just the insurance companies, not the insurance companies at all. They work for you. They're on hand through the entire process to help you understand your options so you can make decisions with confidence. Head to policygenius.com to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. Last one, Sally. Ready?
Yeah.
I have a question. Okay, here we go. What are the pros and cons of the different airlines, Sally and Brett? Do you have one you stick with or one you absolutely may never fly on? I'm new to flying and also recently got a credit card with pretty freaking sweet benefits for flights as long as you choose an airline and stick with it. Thanks and love y'all. This is our question number 6 where we like to travel a little bit.
Okay, this is going to be funny because
Okay.
I'm sure we're going to get backlash for this because
Oh.
people get really, really like die hard about airlines, which I
They
think is hilarious.
Absolutely.
And people will be like, oh, this airline would never do that. And like, they all like low key suck. Okay. Like, I feel about airlines
Bust
same
the
way I
airlines
feel
down,
about
says
politics. I'm
Sally.
going to like pick
Break
the
up the
lesser
big
of
airlines.
evils, you know? Okay. I'm a Southwest girl.
Sure.
Living in Texas where there are lots of Southwest flights available to me. That's been the airline that I fly most of the time.
Okay.
If not everywhere. That has changed a little bit since Will and I got together because Southwest does not fly
To Detroit.
They do fly to Detroit,
Oh,
not
do they?
directly, but
okay. Yeah.
they don't fly anywhere near northern Michigan, which is kind of an issue. If that were the case, my ass would be flying Southwest all the time.
Mhm.
Here's why I like Southwest. This is not a commercial for them because then I'm going to tell you why I like other airlines. Southwest has like done plenty of shitty things in the past, but for the most part, I feel like their customer service will like if something really crappy happens to you, like make up for it.
Okay.
I also have a Southwest visa and via points and the like amount of flights I took or whatever. I currently have a companion pass, which is
Very
pretty
cool.
sweet. I know other airlines do this.
I have a
but
Delta one now.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's really tight when it happens. So basically, like, because Fritz can sit on my lap still because he's under the age of 2, like when we've flown Southwest places, like when we went to DC, I paid for like one ticket for the 3 of us, which is wild.
Super cool.
People don't like Southwest because they don't like not having an assigned seat. I
am one of them.
I argue that I actually like it better because I'm like, well, either if you have status, normally you board in the A's or you can pay to board in the A's. And then you get on the plane whenever. Like, I know going in how it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it's just because I fly it so often that, like, I kind of low-key like that I could, like, snag a freaking exit row and not have to pay extra for it.
You're absolutely right.
But people really hate that. I get why they do. But I think for me, like, I know pretty much if I am in the B's, like the mid B's or higher, so early B's or all A, that I'm going to get whatever seat I want, pretty much.
Especially
Not
if
have
you're just
to sit in
looking
the
for aisle or window.
Right.
Like you're pretty much locked in.
But they don't have a first class.
Nope. All the same.
And they don't assign seats. I argue that like if I'm C, which I never C because I check in on time, but if I'm C, like I know I'm not getting my overhead bag in. Okay. I'm checking the bag. People get stressed about that. What I think I notice more people crowding and being gate lice on flights where people actually do have assigned seats because
the boarding process needs to be torn up and thrown in a fucking fire.
I really actually enjoyed during COVID when they would
go back to the front.
Yes,
it makes
that
so
made
much more sense.
Why did we stop doing that?
It's insane.
It pisses me off because I kind of think like, well, that made the most sense the whole time. But we like, okay, when we fly like Delta or United or whatever, it'll be like, you're like, oh, cool. I'm in like 10A. I'll probably get on the plane pretty early. No, because they'll be like, we're boarding the pre-boards. Then we're boarding the Star Alliance Plus Platinum, Then we're doing the Star Alliance Diamond, Like there's like 7 boarding classes before they even get to 2.
Yep.
It's dumb. You're like, okay, cool. Like, So I think it's more stressful trying to get a carry-on bag on when you're just like regular general ass boarding, because it doesn't matter that you should be like going in line. People are like gate licing, like, oh shit, I gotta get up there for
the rush to the front, and there's people that are not first class that are walking in with first class. It's so annoying. Because then you walked on the plane, you see them, oh, you're in 36D, man.
Yeah.
You walked on the plane 20 minutes ago, and you're not
But I think Southwest, the plus side of that, Southwest used to go A group, B group, C group. There were no numbers. It was just like a free for all. They fixed that, and now you're like assigned A1 through 60, and they board you in order. Sometimes
love that.
People will be on a real power kick, and like literally, if you're 34 and 33 doesn't go in front of you, they will like make you wait.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like no one really gives a shit. Like you're just kind of in the vicinity, like whatever.
Yes.
But like I prefer that way. I at least know I'm like A60. I'm gonna probably be able to get my bag on and like have a decent seat.
I get that. I like the cleanliness, the relative upscale feel of Delta more than anything. I kind of chose Delta as my airline.
Yeah, you got all in on
New
Delta.
York, which made much more sense in New York, by the way. Austin too. It works in Austin, but New York, it was like you got to be Delta. And then I got the credit card.
Yeah.
And now I have status.
Yeah.
And status is a game changer. I was always like I poo-pooed status. I was like, like you get like a
status matters.
Yeah, and it does, and it's like
which is why it makes more sense.
Now I'm a status slut.
Yeah. If you
status.
like being upgraded and shit like that, it makes more sense to go all in on an airline versus like searching for a deal. I personally think we are more now. I would say our second choice is Delta because we fly Delta a lot to get to Michigan because one of their hubs is Detroit. I had a big period where I was flying United a lot because when I lived in Houston, it made the most sense.
Hub city, yeah.
So it for me, it depends on what city you're closest to. I have a lot of friends who are from Dallas who fly a lot of American.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think
American stinks.
American blows.
Stinks.
I'm going to fly American like in the coming weeks.
And they stink because they're short-staffed as shit. And it's unfair to the people that work there. It's unfair to the pilots, it's unfair to the flight attendants, and then ultimately the passengers. Because every airline has their own fucking thing.
And everyone has shitty experiences with every airline, but I've had more shitty experiences with American than any other airline.
Agreed. Same.
Where they'll just like legitimately cancel your flight. I know that happens to other airlines. And I know there's American stands out there who are like, fuck you, American's great.
Waited for badge for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
With American. By the way, I need to say this. This is going to come off as incredibly douchey. If you're losing your badge on flights, it's your fault. It's not the airline's fault. Stop getting to the airport 27 minutes before you leave.
Honestly, invest in an AirTag and then put it in your luggage so that you can see where your fucking bag is.
It's just agreed. Very dad of me. Stop getting to the airport 29. I get that it's like, it's cool. You don't have to wait. Even if you have stop getting to the airport right before your flight leaves and you won't lose your checked bags.
But when people have lost my bags, it's never been because it got lost in the transfer.
Transfer is one thing.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I will never, ever, ever again fly Frontier. Ever.
Oh, they get you for everything.
Here's the deal with Frontier, Spirit, Allegiant, everything else.
Yep.
You're like, oh, solid. I'm like getting a ticket for $50. But then it doesn't matter because they charge you for your check bag, they charge you for your carry-on, they charge you to print a boarding pass.
Yep.
Like, so we're going through this right now because I had to book some flights in Europe, and I was like texting our travel agent, and I was like, okay, the British Airways flight is this much, or I could do an EasyJet. She's like, listen, if you want to take EasyJet, that's fine. But you're going to end up spending the same amount of money that you're spending when you're, instead of just flying British Airways because you like tried to get a deal, because you're going to have to pay for all this extra shit.
It always happens. Yep. Always happens.
So I'm at the point now where I don't think that Southwest is a budget airline. I think it was for a really long time.
Their prices are oftentimes higher than Delta.
Yeah.
For what I'm trying to do, I've found.
Right. I think it's a safe bet to pick two that you're like willing to like mostly fly,
Yeah, I think
and then
that's
obviously
fair.
you bop to other places. People I feel like a lot of people really like Alaska.
Yeah, I just don't. I
There's
never.
just not, like, a
very,
lot of
very rarely do I
Alaskan
fly like
airlines.
west
Yeah.
to like San Francisco or anything. I think
Also,
I'm flying
people, like,
Alaska, San Diego.
go apeshit for JetBlue. We just don't have like
Yeah,
JetBlue.
JetBlue is good.
I feel like if you were in New York or LA, that would make more sense.
JetBlue was like legendary with like 10 or 12 years ago when they had all the new technology,
Mhm.
and now all of their planes still have the same 2008 technology.
When you get on a brand new plane,
oh,
there is no better feeling. You're like, Southwest has like new nice planes that when you get on, you're like, oh, the Wi-Fi is gonna work. The seats
Delta.
are gonna be nice.
When you get on a Delta plane and has the blue glow.
Oh my God. We were on
Game
one.
over.
We were on a Delta, like a really nice Delta plane to
Yep.
Detroit when we went to Michigan. I was like,
Yeah,
this makes everything
it's
else
downright
look like shit.
luxurious.
I do like that Delta serves you Biscoff cookies too. I'm a big fan of that.
It's Delta. Delta's the one, and if you get a Delta, like a Platinum Amex or even a Gold Amex, you spend like $3,000, you get like 90,000 miles.
So there are people who are really good at this that they like.
I'm not. I'm jealous.
They
of
like
them.
switch around which cards they use and then they cancel.
They
them
open and can't and transfer. They just transfer balances. Get the 90,000
Yeah.
mile. I'm
not-
sure it does a number on your credit score. I
Yeah.
can't imagine it's like financially good for you, but you don't have to spend.
I think that's what the Point Guy's whole blog is
Yeah.
about. It's like figuring out how to
Yeah.
finagle that.
Oh yeah.
We're flying British Airways to London, and the last
British
time we did
Airways.
it, I really enjoyed it.
I feel like they take pride in like an upscale experience.
Well, I think flying Delta or like Air France is also really nice.
Mhm.
But we've done this flight before, and I think the best thing, this is gonna sound so stupid, is all the flight attendants were British, and I was like, I already feel like I'm in London. It was like so exciting. Like,
This is legit.
they're like serving you tea, and you're like, this is a real London experience. They're probably like, this is so stupid, and like the tea's really shitty, and we don't
You
care.
dumb Americans.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I can't wait for people to like yell at me about how Southwest, blah, blah, blah. But 2
Oh.
free checked bags, you guys. When you're checking golf clubs, that matters.
I know. It's so nice because I've walked up to the golf clubs have gotten interesting lately because a lot of the time they're not like I put my golf clubs on an Alaska thing one time
Uh-huh.
and they're just like, cool. I don't know if they were being nice, but they were like 50 pounds
Yeah.
and they weren't marked oversized. I was like, okay, I just paid the regular like $40.
Yeah.
But with Delta, it's just like they don't even check my weight anymore. They're just like, here you go, thank you.
Yeah.
So anyway, that'll do it for questions. Do you have any shower thoughts?
I do have a shower thought. I thought about this last night. And I actually asked Will this question. Okay. Were there any foods that you like either grew up eating and then you later realized that was like weird that you ate it all the time as a snack,
Mhm.
or vice versa, that you like had never heard of and then you like went to college or the real world or whatever and then you realized like, oh, I didn't even like know what that food was. Here are my examples.
Yeah.
When I got to college, like all my girlfriends that I like, the crew that I started running around with, like all used to like eat brie cheese and crackers, and I was like, what the fuck is just brie? Like, are we just like having charcuterie plates? Like, I
Mhm.
didn't even know what that was.
Okay, that's like
Something that I did not eat as a snack. Like, I wasn't like making myself a cheese board,
no, I wasn't.
which
either.
is hilarious because now
Because
now
you're
I make
right,
them on
you're the
plain.
cheese board person.
I also legitimately had like never had an avocado by itself that wasn't in guacamole, which is actually kind of wild. But I also think that
Mhm.
avocados weren't a huge thing until I was in college. Like, I feel like they had a real renaissance.
Yeah, I think avocados.
Just like, remember when Brussels sprouts were like a huge thing, like
Yeah.
and kale? It's like those were foods that I just like never ate. Like,
Interesting. Okay.
so I got to college and people were like just eating avocados. I was
Just
like, wait, what
crushing
the fuck's happening
avocados.
over here?
Interesting.
Also, I don't think I'd ever had hummus until I got to college, which is wild. Like, hummus is like very basic. We just didn't have dips and stuff in our house. Like, I just ate bags of chips as snacks or like
That makes
popcorn.
sense. Yeah, I think I'm similar. I didn't like. This is gonna sound weird, but just like Mexican food
Yeah.
in general. We had tacos growing up, but like I don't think I had a quesadilla or an enchilada or a. Oh no, my mom made pretty good enchiladas maybe, but like quesadilla, queso, guac, salsa, like none of that.
People,
was, like,
most
growing
people
up,
who did
'cause-
not grow up in Texas, Will said this last night. This was his
Yeah,
thing. He was like,
Tex-Mex.
I never even heard of a breakfast taco.
Yeah.
That didn't
Oh,
make sense.
no chance would I ever have known that until I got to college. And we there were 2 Mexican restaurants in Saratoga. And like we had like a Moe's,
Yeah.
and I would go and get, taco.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I know all the other stuff on the menu I've heard of, but like I've never had it, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
And then you have a quesadilla for the first time. You're like, holy shit! And I never had Taco Bell. We didn't have a Taco Bell growing up, so Moe's was as close as it got to like fast Mexican food, or fast Tex-Mex, I guess. But yeah, and then the other anecdote I have here is I was a vegetarian because I had a kidney disease and I couldn't process proteins until I was like 16, 17. So like I didn't have a chicken wing until I was 16 or 17.
Really?
I didn't have a steak. I didn't have the one thing I could have was fish, weirdly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no chicken, no beef, no pork, no nothing. I didn't have bacon. I didn't have nothing until meat-wise until I was like 16, 17.
You
So
think you'll
going
ever
to
go back to be
college,
vegetarian?
I am, despite my Butcher Box read, yeah, I'm like vegetarian curious
Mm-hmm.
based on the amount of research that I've done after.
I like a meatless Monday situation.
Oh yeah, I've never been a red meat like
Mm-hmm.
fiend. I don't crave
Yeah.
steak ever. I don't crave pork ever. I don't crave like ground beef. I don't crave hamburger. Never have I ever craved red meat. I'll crave like a chicken wing, but that's more about the buffalo sauce than anything.
Yeah.
So I've never had like if I needed to be a vegetarian tomorrow, my doctor's like, you need to go tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'd be fine.
Yeah.
But I'm just consciously working in much, much, much healthier
Yeah.
meals as it is. The one thing I don't think I could do is be like vegan.
That would be hard. I think
But-
I consume a lot of dairy products.
Yeah.
Like not on purpose,
It's
but I
just
do have like
cheese.
yogurt and cheese.
Yeah. I could cut eggs if I wanted to. I could cut milk,
Oh,
yogurt.
see, I don't think I could cut eggs.
Yeah. The eggs would be in stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't need like a scrambled egg.
Fritz has 2 scrambled eggs every single day.
Really?
Fucking crushes eggs.
Let's go, Fritz, man.
And apparently most babies don't like eggs. He like
Yeah.
sees eggs. We have to like let them cool down because otherwise they'll like burn him. And he was like screaming this morning because he wanted the eggs. I was like, they gotta cool, buddy. You're gonna burn your
The
hand.
dude just loves housing Scrambies.
Loves housing Scrambies.
It's awesome. Anyway, that'll do it for the mail-in today, Sally. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time.
That was fun. Long ep today.
Long
112.
epi.
Please subscribe. Rate 5 stars, review, tell a friend about the podcast. Hit the hotline number 888-362-MAIL. That's 888-362-6245. Or right at the link in the Twitter bio at Mail-In Podcast. Sally, where can the people find you?
People can find me at Sally deFries on Instagram and Twitter.
I am Schmerriman on both of those platforms. Randy, thank you. Sally, thank you. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.